Why some women compete with you in silence. The psychology of fake friends. Let's talk about something women rarely say out loud. Have you ever had a friend who technically support you, but something just feels slightly off? She congratulates you, she shows up, she smiles, but the energy just doesn't fully match the words. And you feel it, but you don't have proof, you don't have drama, you don't have a screenshot, but you have that thing called intuition, sorry. Today we are not gossiping, we are not exposing anyone, we are breaking down the psychology of silence competition in female friendship, because once you understand the psychology, you stop shrinking yourself. Some women don't compete loudly, they compete quietly, and quiet competition is harder to detect. Step number one: what a fake friend really is. A fake friend is not always a villain. It's rarely dramatic betrayal. It's rarely someone actively trying to destroy you. Sometimes it's someone who is emotionally attached to you through comparison rather than connection. Connection is safety, mutual growth, shared joy, emotional expansion. But comparison based attachments, this is ranking, measuring, monitoring, subtle insecurity. When a friendship becomes a scoreboard, it stops being safe. Let me break down how subtle ranking happens. It goes like this: who is prettier? Who gets more attention? Who is more disciplined? Who has more option? And who is evolving faster? And here is the truth: social comparison is very normal, but insecure comparison becomes silent competition, and that's the difference. And step number two is why your growth triggers them. When you grow, you shift the dynamic. People are comfortable with you when you are predictable, but growth makes you unpredictable. And unpredictability destabilizes insecure identities. If someone builds their identity around being the put together one, being the attractive one, or being the ambitious one, and then you evolve, you don't attack them, you disrupt their position. That disruption feels threatening, not because you're wrong, but because they were attached to a ranking. Growth exposes fragility, and not everyone is ready to confront their fragility. So let that sink in. And moving on to step number three, which is scarcity mindset in women. This section, you must take a breath because many women are socialized in scarcity. Like, for example, scarcity of beauty, scarcity of male attention, scarcity of opportunity, scarcity of validation. And let me give you an example about this one. About this, it's like when they go like, oh, there can only be one, like one pretty girl, one popular girl, one successful one chosen one. So when another woman shines, it can unconsciously feels like loss, even when it isn't. But abundant mindset will say, this is space for both of us. But the scarcity mindset will always say, if she wins, then I lose. Fake friendship often grows in scarcity environment, and it's conditioned. And now moving on to step number 4. Because we really need clarity here. You know what I mean? Envy versus jealousy. For example, envy equals wanting what someone else has, and jealousy equals fearing someone will take what you have. Most silent competition is envy, but envy is uncomfortable to admit, so the ego protects itself. Instead of, I wish I had a discipline, it becomes, she's doing too much. Or instead of, I feel behind, they will say something like, oh, you've changed. Like, it's crazy. So projection is the easier way, or it's more easier than that self-improvement. You know what I mean? Like for them to just have the self-improvement. So that projection is more easier for them. That's human psychology. And when someone refuses to sit with envy, they externalize it. And that externalization becomes subtle hostility. So yeah, moving on to the next step. Okay, now moving on to step number 5. I'm going to give you 7 steps of signs of silent competition. So let's take our time and listen. Okay, 1. Backhanded compliments. That outfit is nice. It's different for you. 2. Energy shift during your wins. They smile, but the smile doesn't reach the eyes. 3. Subtle discouragement. Like, are you sure that's realistic? Really? And 4. Increased monitoring. Suddenly, they start asking very detailed questions about yourself, your plan, your goals. And 5. Mimicking. This is when they start what you start, not from inspiration, but from urgency, if you know what I mean. And 6, emotional withdrawal when you elevate, distant when you level up. And 7, re-preparing when you struggle. Comfortable when you're not shining. Really? These are the kind of friends that we have. So you have to really make sure to understand. So the 7 signs, make sure to save them because they are very important. I take my time to write them down so I don't forget it. So yeah. Okay, so now moving on to our next step. And now moving on to section 6, which is step number 6. Okay, now this one is very important. Okay, why they stay close to you. Listen, if someone feels insecure, it's crazy. Why don't they leave, right? No, they won't. Because proximity reduces anxiety. If they stay near you, they can measure up to you. They can compare with you, themselves to you. They can reassure their ego. Because distance forces reflection. And reflection requires that maturity, but they don't have it. So, of course, they want access without accountability, and that's where silent competition lives. And now we're going to move on to our next step. And now our next step will be attachment and emotional maturity. This is our step number 7. Okay, let me break this down and explain it properly to you so you understand what I mean by attachment and emotional maturity. Because not all fake friendship are malicious, really. Some are emotionally immature, that's all. But anxious attachments may fear abandonment when you grow. And avoidant attachments may draw when you threaten them, threaten your life or whatever, their ego, you know. But emotional maturity cannot celebrate what it hasn't built internally. That's the problem. Because secure women will celebrate, and insecure women will always be the one calculating. So maturity determines which category someone falls into. So you tell me which category you fall into. Leave that in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And now our next step is step number 8. This is how to respond with soft power. You do not confront unnecessarily. You do not accuse. You do not announce awareness. You just adjust access they get from you. Information boundaries, energy boundaries, reduce emotional disclosure, observe patterns. Because silence is not weakness, it is controlled power. You do not need to expose. Time reveals everything. And when someone realizes you feel them without reacting, the dynamic shifts. And honestly, this is why I focus on so much on my structure and self-discipline, because when you are busy building your life intentionally, you don't have time to compete. You don't have time to monitor. You are focused. If you're trying to get more organized and productive, I've linked some of my favorite desk and productivity essential below. Sticky notes, organization tools, marker pen, digital pen, everything I personally use is in my affiliate list in the description down below. So yeah, check that out and let's move on to our next step. And now moving on to step number 9, which is self-reflection. This is very, very important, because before we judge anyone, have you ever asked yourself have you ever felt behind, or have you ever feel like you're comparing yourself to others, or have you ever felt that subtle insecurity? That doesn't make you fake, it makes you human. The difference is what you do with it. Do you grow or do you compete? Because self-awareness is what separates maturity from silent hostility. Yeah, so let that sink in. Move on to our next step. And finally, our last step is building secure female friendships. This goes both ways, take it as it resonates. Forget about that noise, that the door, sorry. Building secure female friendship. So, because healthier friendship required intentional validation, emotional regulation, abundance mindset, identity stability. Because when two secure women connect, there is no ranking, there is no measuring, there is no monitoring, there is just expansion. And expansion feels light, not tense. If your friendship feels tense, please pay very close attention. Your nervous system is trying to say something because it always knows everything. Not every smile is loyalty. Not every closeness is safety either. And not every competitor is loud. But sometimes the quietest competition is the most revealing. You don't need to shrink. You don't need to dim your light. You don't need to perform smallness to maintain comfort. The right people will grow with you, and the wrong ones will expose themselves. So protect your peace and build anyway. And I'll see you guys in the next video. So leave a comment down below if you've experienced this before, how many times, or what your story is. Let's chat in the comment section below. Let's all learn from each other. So stay safe and kiss kiss. Ciao.